Hi guys, Artiar here. So for this video, it's a PvE tier list for March 3.4.20, but this tier list here is every Esper at Rezo 6. So the previous tier list I posted for the PvE one is more towards the majority of the player, which majority of the player can still take it as a reference because the Rezo is not that high because it's R2, so it's still at their they're still at their range, right? Then at a higher tier player or more active player, most probably you are more curious about what if the all the Esper is at their max potential, which is their R6. How would the tier list be like? Because there's some Esper, they'll be very good at R6, but before R6 they're kind of like a meh, not really that useful until they reach R6. Like, so this tier list I'm gonna make today is more towards if everyone is R6, how good how impactful are them in the PvE content. So I'm gonna separate into a few tier lists: what the actual fuck, meta, strong, decent, niche, and bad. So all this here, it depends on my own usage, my own consideration of the content, which is ritual speedrun, Dislyte high score, falsetto fantasy high score, and event content such as the current Abyss trial, the memory reef, the old wave content thing, and the joint forces, maybe frozen crucible, all this kind of content. I will be judging them. There's no like higher priority, like it's not like ritual speedrun is higher priority, or maybe Dislyte high score is higher priority. No, it's just based on my own opinion, like how good is their usage based on the content. All right, this is everyone is at R6. It's a very late end game, like at my current environment. So I'm gonna go through one by one. This video will take some time. If you don't really enjoy the analyze that I'm going to go through, then you can just skip through this part to the end where I'll put the timestamp there. You can go take a look at the final tier list. But if you want to know my analyze on the Esper, then you can go through one by one. Alright, so the first one, R6 Elif. I put it purposely to make her at the first one. R6 Elif definitely at the WTAF tier because she's not just a meta unit, she's game-breaking unit. Like, if you have her at R6 Elite and don't have her at R6 Elite, it's a total different gameplay. So, definitely at the what the actual fuck, she can be used in a lot of content, APAP, Yinglong, Dislyte, Desert Land, Gale, all falsetto fantasy, event speedrun, event content, anywhere you can see R6 Elite. If you get her, it's a whole new gameplay, but before R6, she's not really that good. Okay, then for R6 Suicide, I would say somewhere strong to decent, but I'll put it as strong. It's like he's usable in Shadow Stream. It's not the best unit for the DPS, but it's usable. Like if you don't have Lapis, you don't have other DPS, then she does a pretty good job. We're not considering tower content, but I still think Suicide is pretty good for event content. Like in certain situations, if you like the joint forces, for example, Suicide actually doing a very good job. Because you can just probably solo one team, but it will take a longer turn count. But overall, I'll still put it as strong, not until meta tier. But I don't think he's like at decent or niche. But I'll put it as strong for now. Let's take a look like after the other Esper consideration, right? Then for Ethan here, I'll put it at decent. Like a lot of content don't really use Ethan, as like the R6 is not that impactful as well. The R6 is more like for the PvP content, and Ethan here, there's not really a lot of content for him as well, other than the joint forces thing. That's most of the cases you can't use Ethan, and not really that useful for PvE. Okay, then for Nora here, I'll put it as strong to meta somewhere here. Right, but I'll put it at meta. The reason why, if we consider as Shadow Stream, Nora is better than Suicide. If we consider at Fafnir, you can use Nora. For Falsetto Fantasy, Nora is good. Event content, Nora have a lot of usage as well. So I'll put Nora higher than Suicide, definitely. Like there's more usage in PvE content. Nora have more usage than Suicide for sure. Then for Ophelia here, I'll put it somewhere at meta to strong. Right, but if we debate with like wind type Esper between Ophelia and Nora, Nora is kind of better. But because if we talk about Yinglong speedrun, Fafnir speedrun, Ophelia is doing a pretty good job as well. Like especially at R6. And R6 here I can refresh her S3 damage. And this S3 damage here is also one of the best skill you can use in joint forces, memory reef, and also the Abyss trial as well. It's actually doing a very good job. So I'll put her at meta tier. yes, I'll put Ophelia at meta tier because she kinda excel in a lot of content, especially when you're at late game, when you want to do speed run. Ophelia have a very good big role. Then for meta Liling, so meta Liling here I'll put it somewhere strong to decent, alright? But I'll put it as strong. The reason why I put it as strong is because R6 meta Liling have a very unique effect, which is when you instantly get S2, and when you cast S2, your ally, your highest attacker ally, will cast S3 for free. So it's a call-in S3 for free, and this is a very unique skill kit because no other Esper can do this thing. And sometimes when you have meta Liling R6, for example, you are able to cleave or maybe cheese some PvE content, especially like the previous one, the Torch Dragon. Meta Liling is actually one of the meta unit in that content. And event content as well, the currently one, like the Join Forces, is also doing a pretty good job. So overall, I'll put it at strong. I won't put it at decent, just because he have a very unique R6 effect. Just because of that, I'll put it at strong. But like also in that Versatile Fantasy, he's still one of the best unit for Property as well. So I'll put it at strong. Okay, then for Ollie here, I'll put it at decent to niche, somewhere here. But I'll put it at decent because Ollie S3 is very good for Chrono Speedrun, still one of the best. Ollie is very good for some event content, not much, but overall I would say the usage is kinda like meta Liling as well. But I'll put Ollie at one tier lower, just because I think meta Liling usage is more special and more unique than Ollie. You can debate like Ollie go up to strong, but I'll put it at decent for now. Okay, then for Fushi R6, I'll put it as strong as well. Fushi R6 is still very good in Versatile Fantasy, is very good in like event content. The Abyss Trio and Join Forces is doing a very good job as well, especially at R6. You pair with Embla, can call in Embla S3 for free. It's kind of like the meta Liling thing, like meta Liling S2 can call in someone's S3. Fushi S3 will guarantee call in Embla S3, so they have the same usage, but Fushi is overall more important than meta Liling. But I won't think Fushi is going up to meta tier, because in terms of the other content, he's not doing that OP or that strong. So I won't put it at meta tier. I'll put it at strong tier, but he definitely is not at the decent tier. Okay, Fatal Sister, I'll put it as somewhere to strong and decent, but I'll put it as strong. Because Fatal Sister, very unique speed leader buff, is doing very good in Versatile Fantasy. In the Desolate Land is also usable as well. It depends on your team comp, but because the Versatile Fantasy, Desolate Land, Phantom Sister can provide a 35% speed buff. While if you are using like Slon team, maybe you don't really need a speed buff, then Phantom Sister speed up buff is not that important. But not meta tier, not decent tier, but I'll put it as strong tier. Okay, then for Abigail here, I'll put it at niche. Like, she's not bad, but in most cases, in most content, in late game, there's not much usage for Abigail. Like, maybe you want to debate with tower content, but tower content is not in our consideration today, because in late game, most probably any Esper you have now is able to clear the tower content very easily. So in terms of speed run, in terms of high score, in terms of event content, Abigail is not our main priority to go for, or the main consideration we are going for. Okay, then for Sally. Sally here, I'll put it at niche as well. Like, in late game, we are more talking about DPS in terms of survivability. And Sally here is purely providing survivability, and if in terms of survivability, we have other Esper that can provide survival plus buff, or maybe plus some passive damage as well. So I won't say Sally is up to decent, I'll put it at niche as well. Okay, Archibald, I'll put it at somewhere niche to bad, but I'll put it at niche. Archibald, most likely in most of the boss content, he's not going to be good, but I'll put it at niche because he's performing actually very well in Memory Reef, and also in the Joint Forces, and also Abyss Trio. He's actually doing a pretty good job. So overall, because of that content, I'll put it at niche instead of bad. It's not really that bad. Then for Liam here, I'll put it at meta tier. I won't put it at what the actual fuck, because Liam double S3 is very good. It's one of the best Esper in I'll put it at what the actual fuck if the Sonica meta is still gonna be the Liam meta. But currently the Sonica meta environment have been changed. The Team 1 currently we're not using Liam as a main DPS. You are using Team 1 to extend the debuff of Haley. So because of that, I won't put Haley Liam at the what the actual fuck anymore. Instead of that, I'll put it at meta tier, but he's still being used in Shadow Fire. Shadow Fire can be used in Shadow Glow, can be used in all Versatile Fantasy. Chronos in terms of speed run, not really. And event content is doing a good job as well. So I'll put it at meta tier, but maybe after I go through the analyze, I'll maybe put it at the water actual fuck, but for now, I'll put it at meta tier. Let's see. Okay, so for Pharah. Okay, Pharah here, in terms of speed run, in terms of high score, there's not really a lot of usage for Pharah. Event content wise, not really a lot of usage for Pharah as well. So I'll put it at bad. For now, I'll put it at bad because there's not really of content we can actually use Pharah. Maybe we can consider like niche for the memory reef, but overall, I'll put it at bad for now. Okay, then for Sienna. Sienna, I'll put it at somewhere decent to strong, but for now, I'll put it as strong. Like the R6 actually doesn't benefit in your PvE content, but Sienna's speed leader buff, the S1 AP push, the S2 buff is actually doing very good, and especially she have a CD reduction for the wind Esper. She's actually doing very good in a lot of content like the Shadow Stream, like in event content. If you want to use Sienna, it's also doable as well. So I'll put it as strong for now. Embla, definitely at the meta tier, or maybe at WTAF tier. I'm still at the debate for now. Embla still one of the best DPS queen we have since her release. Like it has been so long, but still at the DPS queen, and can be used in all Versatile Fantasy. Can be used in APAP if you really want. Event content definitely have Embla or even more usage. Let me think. R6 Embla. Yeah, I think I'll put it at WTAF tier, like beside Elite, because in our current joint forces and Iblis trial, Embla seed is actually a lot more better than most of our DPS because have disease, have bleed, AoE damage, and burst damage as well. So yeah, because of that, I'll put it at the highest tier, R6, because it reduced the stack. Okay, then for Lien R6 here, I'll put it at strong. Like as a survival Esper, because she provides survivability. She's doing very good like in Versatile Fantasy. If you are lacking of survivability, you can just slot in an R6 lane without any speed, and she will just be there, not taking your turn, and providing healing for your team. And you also apply miss rate up to the boss as well. So I'll put it as strong. But if you're talking about speed run stuff or high score, she's not really that good. So maybe a decent to strong. Alright, based on usage, I'll put it at decent because Fatum System have more usage than R6 lane, but they won't be at the same tier, right? So I'll put it at decent. Alright, Lapis. Lapis, I'll put it as strong. Like, Lapis is very good for Shadow Stream, the queen of DPS for Shadow Stream. But other than Shadow Stream, she's not doing very well at the moment because maybe at Anomaly, when there's more Egyptian Esper, maybe there's more synergize between Lapis and the Egyptian Esper, right? So for now, I'll put it as strong. But she's definitely the DPS queen for the Shadow Stream. But other than Shadow Stream, she's not performing that OP for now. Alright, Hyde for late game PvE content, there's no usage for Hyde. Camille, no usage. Sakura, definitely at the meta tier. Best healer, best buffer, not the best. Best healer, buffer unit, passive damage boost with R6 stat boost as well. Meta unit. Maybe not until WTAF tier, because I won't say that support Esper will be WTAF, but I would say that in terms of support Esper, she's actually the best unit to invest. Lushang, meta unit, or maybe WTAF tier, but Lushang can be usable at R0. You don't really need Lushang at R6 because R6 doesn't provide you any other benefit, but just based on the R0 effect itself, Lushang will already be the meta unit, the higher meta unit, because Lushang game-changing Esper, very game-changing Esper, just crazy. Right, Yamato, I'll put it as strong. Yamato passive boost is actually very strong for Shadow Glow, usable in event trial, usable in Desolate Land as well if you really want, but not really that good. But most importantly, he is one of the meta unit for Shadow Glow. But yeah, basically that's the reason why I'll put it as strong. Tangshan, somewhere niche to bad. I'll put it at niche because his unique assist is Infinity Proc, right? So if you can gamble the 20% chance, it's actually pretty good for the Memory Reef content. But yeah, I'll put it at niche because he still have usage for PvE, but not really that much. Okay, then for Mavis, in terms of late game, the Mavis usage is actually not that good. Maybe you want to talk about APAP, but in terms of speed run, it's not really that good. So I'll put it at bad. Not niche, but maybe at bad. Because in terms of Memory Reef or the Joint Forces thing, I don't think there's usage for Mavis as well. Martial, I'll put it at meta. Very unique spark damage, very unique self AP push, very unique damage, and also with speed scaling and without any crit rate needed as well. So definitely at meta tier. I won't say he is until WTF, but I'll put it at meta because like Fafnir speed run. Maybe at level 70 we can even see lower turn for Fafnir as well. But for now, I'll put it at Martial at meta tier. All Versatile Fantasy can be used. Desolate Land is kinda usable, and Ritual Speed Run is very strong. Event content is pretty good as well because he have Dispel, Defend Break, Disease, extra damage, and speed scaling as well. Okay, Momo, I'll put it somewhere decent to strong. But I'll put it at decent because Momo there's only one usage in PvE content, which is Dark Starlord. Other than Dark Starlord, there's actually no content for Momo in PvE. So I'll put it at decent, maybe niche. Yeah, I'll put it at niche. Yeah, I'll put it at niche because there's only Dark Starlord, right? Other than Dark Starlord, not really a lot of usage. Like these three Esper have more usage than Momo. For Mitsuki, I'll put it at bad. No PvE content for her. Okay, Beedle at niche because it's only for Sonica, but it's the best unique for Sonica. So put it at niche. Sloan, definitely WTAF tier. Our DPS queen. Like these three Esper is the DPS queen we have. Best, not the best, very strong DPS for Shadow Fire. All three Versatile Fantasy is OP. Event content very strong as well. Ritual speed run also she's the main DPS. So WTF tier. Iliad bad. Zhou Hong bad. Sorry, because in the endgame, late endgame PvE, we're talking about bosses, but Zhou Hong cannot be used in bosses, so bad. But maybe you can put Zhou Hong up to niche because of the joint forces, because of the Abyss Trial. Maybe you can push him up to niche. Yeah, maybe at niche. Still some usage because of the AP push, but overall it's a niche. Alright, Yijing, I'll put it at meta to strong, but because he relies on Lu Shang, right? But I'll put it at meta because currently at level 70 Elif, the best pair with Elif is actually Yijing with Lu Shang combo instead of Yuhime combo for now. So I'll put it at Yijing at meta because in terms of like boosting up the accentuated buff, she is the one and only Esper that is the best for Versatile Fantasy. But other than Versatile Fantasy, there's not much usage for Yijing. But overall, I will still say she's like a meta PvE unit. Changji bad. Haley, I'll say strong to meta, somewhere here, right? Somewhere here. But I'll put it at meta. Because overall content, we can still see Haley appearance, even in event trials, even joint forces. We still see the appearance of Haley. Like APAP, we can see Haley. Versatile Fantasy, we can see Haley. And not to mention the R6, you can forever apply the Molten Hot on the boss. So I'll put it at meta tier. Donna bad. Jinchu strong. Like Jinchu is actually pretty good. Like for Yinglong, not speed run, but very consistent damage. Jinchu is very good for the true damage. Event Trial is also pretty good. Let me think. Alright, decent tier. Not until strong, but I'll put it at decent. Okay, Clara, I'll put it at niche. Because the only usage for me at using Clara is only Shadow Gale. Other than Shadow Gale, there's no usage for me to use Clara. Yeah, I'll put it at niche. There's only one content I'm using Clara in. Other than that, not really. If that case, maybe Ollie can push up. Okay, then for Feng Shun, I'll put it at WTF tier. Yes, I'll put it at that, right? He's a support esper, right? But why am I putting him at WTF tier? Like, he's a supporter, but he supports you by dealing damage, right? In Shadow Stream, Shadow Stream, as a AP pusher, as a buffer, he's doing the second highest DPS in Shadow Stream. As a supporter, AP pusher, and a buffer in Falsetto Fantasy, his damage is maybe not as high as the other DPS, but not low. It's not low at all, right? It's doing the sub DPS. So he's doing as a damage dealer role, sub damage dealer role, AP pusher role, and buff role. He definitely deserved the WTF tier in my opinion. The R6 shield doesn't really matter, to be honest, but in terms of usage, he's everywhere. In Fafnir is also there, Yinglong is also there. Basically every PvE content you can see the shadow of Feng Shun. It's definitely very strong. The shield is not really that important from the R6, but it's come in pretty niche. Like in certain, like the previous Torch Dragon, when the dragon is doing so many damage, the shield come in very handy. So in my opinion, even at R6, I don't care the R6 value for Feng Shun is that high or not, but in terms of its usage, it's definitely worth that highest tier already. Okay, then for Yuran, I'll put it at strong to decent, but in terms of like if we compare to the other Esper here, I'll put it at strong. One of the best sleep unit for Propator. Assist unit is very unique as well, and also the flow type units, flow unit Esper CD reset is also very good. So it's usable in Shadowfire, not the best, but it's also one of the best unit for you for your peak, because 35% speed leader buff, assist chance is a guarantee. Flow unit CD reset, definitely worth the strong tier in my opinion. Louis back. Okay, then for Chuyao, I would say somewhere in meta to WTAF, but in my opinion, I'll put it at WTF. Why? Because in every event content, you will see Chuyao, because the best defense breaker with Seer, AoE defense break, AoE Seer, with Calamity debuff, with a speed leader buff, with a guarantee assist that you can pick who to assist because you put a Spirit Aegis. So you can see Chuyao in Yinglong, you can see Chuyao in Chronos, depends on your speedrun team, but in terms of like the most maximum speedrun, Chuyao is not there, but it can be used in Chronos, Yinglong, Shadowfire, all Falsetto Fantasy team, and all event stages as well. So definitely worth the highest tier. Jin Yu Yao is pretty niche, depends on the content, right? But there's only one content in my opinion, which is going to be Dark Starlord and Sonica. This will be the two content for Jin Yu Yao. So because of that, I'll put it at niche instead of bad, because in terms of passive dispel, she's still being the best unit. Then for Nathaniel here, in terms of bossing content, I'll put it at bad. I don't really think Nathaniel is that good if there's no tower content for us to consider in the PvE content. So I'll put Nathaniel at bad, because in like bossing content, all those stuff, you won't see Nathaniel, and most cases, I don't really use Nathaniel in my PvE content at all, even I have him at R6. Then for Gabriel, Gabriel here, I'll put it at bad. Okay, she's not bad, but I put it bad because in late game, like speedrun, like high score team, like event content, actually not a lot of usage for Gabriel, to be honest, so I'll put it at bad. Then for Warlock, R6, surprisingly, he is actually strong to decent, somewhere here. Alright, somewhere strong, somewhere decent, but I'll put it at decent for now, but I'll put it as strong, somewhere here, right? Okay, the reason why I will say Warlock is actually so strong, I believe there's not a lot of players have Warlock R6 yet, but Warlock R6 actually provides you a lot of passive damage boost, a lot like crit rate up, crit damage up, passive damage boost, and crit resist down to the boss. And also R6 give you a buff called Tick 5, and the Tick 5 is very good for PvP content because the enemy cannot trigger counter attack, which it feels like it's useless for PvE. But the Tick 5 has another buff which is called damage deal 20% turn into health, which is actually Hades buff. the life steal 20%. So any damage you do, you recover HP. So it's actually we're actually starting to cook out the team for R6 Moonlock, which is Dark Starlord without any. You don't need crit rate for your teammate. You don't need any healer in your team. You just need Moonlock to provide the crit rate for your team, give you damage boost, and also provide you life steal buff. So we are still debating, like trying out. For now, I'll put it at decent, but I would say I would see the potential of Moonlock in the future, maybe up to strong or maybe up to meta. But for now, I'll put it at decent, alright, because there's not much usage we're currently using, but he can be used in Shadow Trim as well. Very high potential in Versatile Fantasy at R6, so for now, I'll put it at decent. Okay, Gaius depends on your usage, right? But I'll put Gaius at niche. Like event trial content, Gaius is still providing a very unique role because of the 100% chance accuracy, 100% chance of crit rate. With stun, with buff blocker, all these things. I'll put it at niche instead of bad, but only that one specific content he's going to be good. Okay, Intisa, I'll put it at bad for now. Depends on the content, right? It's like sometimes like the Torch Dragon, she's being the meta unit because she's being tagged as a Vanguard Esper, so she's being one of the best Esper for that Torch Dragon content. But other than Torch Dragon content, there's not really a content for Intisa, so for me it's a bad. Okay, though for Army R6 WTF tier, the Wave King that doesn't count as a wave count when he do action, the best unit for event content, the previous one, the event trial thing, and one of the best unit for wave content. We're gonna have a lot of wave content event trial as well. The best unit for Fafnir speed run and also for Yinglong speed run in a way. So yeah, just because of that, he deserved the WTF tier because his action doesn't count as a wave. GD bad. Okay, so Suje somewhere at meta to WTF. Alright, but I'll put it at WTF because one of the best nuker unit for APAP, very strong in Yinglong as well. Best unit for Shadow Glow DPS, one of our sub DPS for Shadow Gale, and also in Versatile Fantasy is also a usable unit or maybe a very strong unit for Suje. So overall situation, I would say he's a WTF tier. Alright, TA, I'll put it at strong to meta. The debate will be strong to meta. Okay, but I'll put it as strong. Because best unit for Sonica AP down, but other than Sonica, the other two bosses is not useful. In ritual bosses, there's no usage. In Desolate Land bosses, is no usage. But in event content, when they come in event trial, TA is actually very good. But I don't think she's until like the meta usage, so I'll put it as strong. Okay, Tricky, bad. Okay, then for Yuhime, I'll put it in meta. Yuhime R6 can AP swap with the highest attacker, can basically help you able to cheat some turn out. So one of the best unit currently we're using in Versatile Fantasy meta is actually doing perfectly strong. In terms of speed run, he is doing okay, but event content, Yuhime is doing very, very good. Versatile Fantasy, she's already meta. Then for Desolate Land, not really, right? But overall, I still think the usage of Yuhime is actually meta, but it's around meta to strong. It's debatable, but I'll put it at meta. Okay, then for JV here, I'll put it at niche. Because the JV only usage we're using now is only in event content. Other than event content like Ritual, Desolate Land, Versatile Fantasy, no usage. So I'll put it at niche because he's still useful, but only in specific content. Osana, I'll put it at niche as well. Somewhere niche to decent. Alright, put it at decent because Osana, best Bleed Queen for Yinglong speedrun, because she has the speedrun potential. Best debuffer unit for Dark Starlord. Only these two content. Maybe APAP as well, but in terms of usage, for me personally, I'll say he have the same usage as the other Esper I'm putting at a decent. Like the strong tier have more usage than Osana, so I'll put it at decent for now. Meta Yinchuan, I'll put it at bad, like she's a PvP unit. Ahmed, no usage for him, to be honest, at the late end game. And then Brewster here, definitely meta, like APAP best assist damage, you can be used in Yinglong as well, can be used in Shadow Shadow Gale if you really want. Can be used in Falsetto Fantasy as well. He's doing a very good job because of his unique bullet damage. Okay, then for Hilda, I'll put it at somewhere strong to meta, right? Somewhere strong to meta. Alright, let me think. So Hilda can be used in Yinglong, but not like a very fast speed run, but it's a usable speed run if you pair her with R2 Ife. Probator, if you really want to use, is doable. In terms of Desolate Land, no. Event content, yeah, I'll put it as strong. Not until like meta usage compared to the other Esper here, but I'll put it as strong. Okay, then for Leora, niche. Niche because in wave content we have Amir. So Leora will go down to niche because there's only one usage now, and we have Slon for the late end game for the speed run. So maybe a niche. Niche to decent, but I'll put it a niche. Like my usage for Leora is getting lower and lower. Alright, Ife, I'll put it at decent. Like the R2 Ife Synergize is actually doing very good in event content, but only at event content. Event content and Dark Starlord if you really want, and Yinglong boss as well. A very good pair with Hilda. So I'll put Ife here. Okay, Elaine here very good for, I'll put it as strong because it's one of the best DPS for Fafnir, one of the best sleep unit for Probator as well, depends on the team comp. But only these two units for now. The other content I don't really find a usage, but because of that two content, because of the sleep unit is actually very less, I'll put Elaine as strong instead of decent because there's very few units that can sleep the enemy. Valeria here, I'll put it at somewhere decent to niche, like depends. Okay, I'll put it at decent. I'll put it at decent because the Shadow Fire, Falsetto Fantasy, depends, right? For Valeria actually still do a very good damage if you put with Liam, but it's not as strong as the other unit that I'm putting up there. So I'll put it at decent. Alright, Nama, I'll put it at niche. Like, depends on your content. Like, she's doing pretty good for wave content speed run. Like, APEP speed run, Yinglong speed run. Okay, alright, I'll put it at decent. Basically, wave content and speed run content, he have the potential for it. But if you have R6, if you have Armir, then you won't be using Nama. But if you don't have Armir, Nama R6 is actually a very good friend for you. Yukini is bad for PvE because you cannot, the frost set no longer applies to the boss. Liling bad. Biotina niche just for Dark Starlord, one content. Yunchuan meta tier. The assist, the mid-straight up, the seer, the third eye seal, everything is still doing very good job. Still very consistent unit. I'll put it at meta. Fatima bad. Lucas bad. Ashley bad. Zora bad. Yeah, so far they are still not really that good until they get buffed. Alright, then let's take a look at the Shimmer now. So Shimmer, we have Unas here. Unas R6 instantly at WTAF, or conquering all the Desolate Land bosses. Not speedrun, but she is conquering every Desolate Land bosses. She's doing the best AP pusher unit, and especially Lapis came out. Best unit with Lapis pairing for Shadow Stream. He's also doing with very good with Shadow Fire and also Shadow Guild. Just because he is conquering these three content, I would say he's that WTAF tier, but only at R6. Then we can see more potential of R6 Unas when we have Wunlock, or maybe in other content because in the late end game now we're trying to not let the boss take one turn. So maybe R6 Unas have more potential, but overall, if I have R6 Unas, I'll definitely rate him at this tier. I wouldn't say he's meta, I would say he's higher tier at R6, alright? I'm jealous with it. Alright, Cecilia, bad, useless. Okay, Raven, meta. The speedrun queen. Most of the speedrun wave content, you're gonna need Raven. Event content, you're gonna need Raven. Ritual speedrun, you're gonna need Raven. And she's a Shimmer, she can be used in any ritual speedrun as well. She is just not usable in Desolate Land and Falsetto Fantasy, just these two content. But overall, event content, like in terms of speedrun, you always see Raven in the action, so I'll say meta. Okay, then for Bingshuo, I'll put it at meta as well. Why? Because Bingshuo is doing one of the best DPS for Shadow Fire, one of the sub-best DPS other than Lapis in Shadow Stream. is performing pretty well in some Ritual Miracle, but not speedrun, but it's doing pretty well. Yeah, basically he's kind of like Una's thing, like he can provide a lot of potential for your Desolate Land usage, and also event trial, like a lot of event trial when the mob is getting very tanky, then you will see we are using Ming Shot to ignore the enemy defense and just one shot them. So a lot of usage for Ming Shot, especially at R6. Zihe, somewhere at WTF and meta tier, somewhere here, right? But I'll put it at let me think. Alright. Cause Zihe and Unas is kind of like the same usage. They are very meta in the Desolate Land bosses. Alright, I'll put it at meta because the best unit for Desolate Land, like as a damage taken debuff to apply to the boss. But for now, there's only one usage in the game, which is gonna be Desolate Land. Like other content not really have any potential, but I still see Unas as potential for Falsetto Fantasy. Okay, maybe Unas can be debate like up to down meta as well. Yeah, maybe I'll put meta, cause I can't really put Zihe and WTF, so maybe I'll put Unas and Zihe at the same tier, which is meta tier. Alright, Moriyama, I'll put it at strong. Like, cause in speedrun, he's doing kinda okayish performance. But in Falsetto Fantasy, no usage. Desolate Land, no usage. In event trial, he's gonna have usage because of his very unique, like this dispel, the extra S2 damage, all this thing. So I'll put it as strong, but not until like the meta tier. Cause if you see a lot of the meta team, you won't see a lot of Moriyama usage, but you will see more of the meta as per I put it here. Alright, Wuyu, I'll put it as strong as well. Depends on the content. Like but she's doing actually performing very good in Falsetto Fantasy as a third team. And Desolate Land no usage, Ritual no usage, but event content and Desolate Land and Ritual Miracle no usage, but Falsetto Fantasy and event content, Wuyu is actually performing pretty well. So I'll put it as strong. Okay, Anna in late endgame in terms of like doing speedrun content thing, not really that good, so I'll put it at decent at late endgame PvE. Then for Iki, I'll put it at bad. Somewhere bad to niche, but we are not considering about tower content. For most cases, I won't say Iki have a usage. Then for average here, I'll put it at bad to niche, somewhere here as well. Like they're not really that bad, but in most cases, you won't using average as well. Average is more like a PvP Esper. Toland, WTF tier. The reason why I put it there, just because Toland have the best unique debuff in the game, which can help you speedrun every single Ritual Miracle. Like if you don't have Toland, you can't speedrun Ritual Miracle compared to the Toland user. And in Falsetto Fantasy, GG Easy invented a Toland team, which means Toland is also usable in Falsetto Fantasy. So yeah, because of these two content, he's actually doing one of the most unique debuff in the game. So I think he deserves the highest tier, or else he's actually meta. But keep note, your Toland have to be resetted. He have to be low level without any ascension and as low reso as possible. So Toland is a special case, right? It's a special case, but he deserves the highest tier in my opinion. Okay, then for Petros down. For Taver, I would say it's strong. No longer the meta unit in Desolate Land, but still doing one of the best unit in Desolate Land. Falsetto Fantasy not really anymore. Ritual Speedrun not really. Event content she's doing pretty well. So it's somewhere meta to strong, but I don't really have R6 Taver, so for this part it's not really accurate. But I would say somewhere meta to strong. Maybe some player can debate Taver up to meta, maybe to strong. Alright, but somewhere here. Jiang Julie bad. Nusi bad. Xuanpin WTF. One of the best buffer in the game. Can be used in all Desolate Land, all Falsetto Fantasy, all Ritual Miracle if you really want, and Event Trial as well. So yeah, I think every expert is already in the game here. There's a few experts that we can actually debate, right? Like for example, Taver maybe can go up one tier, maybe Osana can go up one tier, Wenlock can go up one tier. Depends on your own personal usage, but everything that I go through today this tier list here is based on my personal usage. I have a lot of R6 Esper, but not all, like especially the Shimmer Esper. So it's just based on my observation of the current meta team in my server, my own usage, and how I think about them. Right, so if you guys have a different opinion, you can feel free to comment down and let me know. So maybe we can discuss about it and see if anything I should actually move around. But so far, this is going to be my own tier list. Yeah, feel free to comment down what you guys think about it, and see you guys in the next one. Bye bye. Special thanks for the direct support on the YouTube membership. So for the benefactor of Artiar, which is JNMP, Epic Bullet Boy, Sky Elk, thank you so much for your support. And for the supporter or patron of Artiar, which is Louis Schneider, Agni, Wang Tamer, Ziggy, Kamaruki, Sunwatts, Rimu, Chani, Antonio Winterspoon, Emil Kragan, Calamity, Rocco Senzions, Jordan Alons, thank you so much for your support. Special thanks for the direct support on the live stream super chat for the latest tag. Thank you so much for Code Wardeners, Calamity, Agni, Love Fatima, Fatima Little Underwear, Bloods, Riku Fred, Chani. Thank you so much for your support.